So this is the Sigma 150 to 600 f5-6.3 DGOS HSM contemporary lens. It's a mouthful, but it's not to be confused with their more expensive and lighter sports version of the lens, but I really do wish I pulled the trigger on buying this lens a long time ago. It's fantastic, and in my opinion, the best bang for buck zoom lens you can buy on the market at the moment. So let me just preface this video by saying I am not a professional, I am an amateur, I am an enthusiast photographer, but I really love taking photos, and I've been doing it for a few years now. I've done a couple of weddings, didn't really work out, not because I was bad at it, just because I don't think it's something that I can see myself doing all the time. Very stressful. I just stuck to having fun with photography and taking photos that I wanted to take, which include wildlife. We've done a few trips away down Cornwall to do some landscape photography. I've done a lot of air shows and stuff over the last couple of months where I've taken this lens and taking photos. So what we'll do, I want to talk about this lens and tell you about it to show you how fantastic it is, but I'll overlay the photos on top of me chatting away, so you can actually just see for yourself the quality of the photos you can get with this lens. So quickly, it's not overly heavy, it's quite manageable actually. It's about 2.04 kilograms, so it's not overly excessively heavy. What it does do when you zoom out though is it does extend like that, so if you're thinking that it's internal, it's not, it does extend out. It's not a real issue, but it obviously does change the balance of you taking the photos, or if it's on the tripod or something like that. Talking of the tripod, it's got this tripod ring built in, which can be adjusted to go vertical or landscape, so you can turn it around to turn the camera around vertical, which is great, but I'll just have it locked in landscape mode, and then if I wanted to crop my pictures in post-production, that's what I do. Switches wise, it's got autofocus, manual focus. It's actually got this lock, which I do like, so you can lock the zoom extension if you want to. It's got the infinity controls, and it's got 2 levels of OS, so image stabilization built into this lens, and it's really good. When you're using it, you'll notice it, you'll half press the shutter down and it sort of locks down the stabilization. It works very well, especially for the air show that we went to. It was really handy because I was trying to do some panning shots, so the OS come in very handy for that. It's got 2 custom settings here, so you can actually plug it into the Sigma dock if you want to buy that separately, and you can really fine tune the focus settings and the zoom settings and all the different things like that. When you're in here and plugged it into the computer, you can really fine tune the settings of this lens, so if you want to go deeper into that, you can do. I've found that just straight out of the box it works very well. I mean, it's not a new lens. I've bought this second hand, by the way. I actually picked this up for about £6.50 in the UK, so you can get them on eBay. Just make sure that you get a good version. I really do fully recommend, if you're in the UK, especially mpb.com, and they sell a lot of used and second-hand photography gear. Not sponsored, it's just something that I've used in the past, so I do really fully recommend them. I've used them a few times and it's always been a great service. Build quality overall is fantastic. I mean, it's sort of metal and plastic. This ring on the focus ring is nice and smooth, relatively smooth. I mean, it's okay. It's like of the zooms I've used in the past. We've got a manual focus ring, which is non-locked, but you have got, this isn't, I mean, it's not a massive throw. It's sort of a half turn of the wrist. The lens cap on the top is 95mm. I've actually got this, which is really incredibly dirty actually. This came with the lens and I've just sort of left it on there. I know it's not the thing to have on lenses, but just to protect it, because it is quite expensive, I've left that sort of protecting lens thing on there. So it does come with a lens hood as well, which is plastic, but it does sort of clip on there. Should clip on there, like so. So yeah, that makes it like a pretty hefty big lens, but it's not overly heavy. Like I said, it's quite easily to manage. I usually just have this over the top like that. I'm not a massive fan of using lens hoods. I know it's not probably the done thing, but overall, as you can see from the photos, as I've been rambling on about this lens, it's done the job. It's got some fantastic photos, especially down in Cornwall and at the air show recently. The focusing is quick. Obviously, when you're zoomed out all the way to 600mm, it is a little bit slower because it's moving all those filaments and stuff inside to get the focus, and it's obviously zoomed in a lot. So it does slow down a little bit when you're all the way to 600. But what I was doing was sort of making sure I got the focus on the object in 150 and then sort of zooming in like that. I found that to work pretty well. Messed about with the metering modes and the focusing modes to get the best out of this lens. And as you can see from the photos on here, I've got some amazing shots and I'm really, really happy with it. It's not weatherproof. There is a dust and splash proof ring around the actual mount there that's going to stop sort of light rain and dust, but it's not weatherproof, so just bear that in mind if you're thinking about taking this on a trip for landscape photography or wildlife photography. This isn't a lens that is sort of water and weather resistant. You might have to go for the sports version to get that feature, but I mean, overall I've been incredibly impressed with the image quality, incredibly impressed with the way it performs. And for somebody like me who's sort of bordering on doing this a lot more and want to do more photography in the future, this is a fantastic lens that I'm going to keep in my camera bag for a long time to come. The results speak for themselves, and yeah, for the money, pretty good bang for buck what you're getting out of this fantastic quality lens from Sigma. So if you do want to grab one of these, I'll put a link in the description down below. It'll be an Amazon link or something if I can find it on there. But yeah, if you can pick one up secondhand, I do fully recommend that you do it. Just be careful what you're buying because there are some scams out there, but so just be wary. Apart from that, you can't go wrong with this lens. It's fantastic.